I'm Mark Indelicato, the marketing manager, and we've got Riley Price with us today, our channel sales representative at RTech. How you doing, Riley?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing great as
And
well.
hi,
Yeah,
everybody out there.
yeah. Hello, hello. Let's get into the agenda. So first, we're going to talk about the RTech difference. Second, we're going to talk use cases and success stories. Third, we'll talk about our solutions. And fourth, we're going to do some Q&A. And really, this is an extremely loose agenda because I kind of think just looking at some of the future slides, all of this is kind of going to be happening all the time. So on that note, if you guys have any questions that pop into your head throughout, feel free to drop them into the chat there. Noah already mentioned one, so feel free to just kind of reply below him, and we'll be sure to answer those as we go along or at the Q&A section.
Sure. You see some other members of our team on here, but RTech Solutions was, really thought of to provide that one-stop shop for our partners. We wanted to make it very simple to find a solution that will enhance businesses. And when our partners are happy, then our customers are happy, and that's the end result there. Providing this ease of doing business with somebody, without having multiple vendors that you have to deal with. We're gonna be that person that you deal with for some of the solutions that we're going to talk about today. Our solutions include equipment. There's provisioning. There's data packaged with it. We have installation services. We have ways to, our installation also includes site surveys with one of the things I'm going to talk about. So it's really, an all-inclusive, you do business with RTech Solutions, and we make it as simple as we can for you with pricing, billing, products, services. So that's who is RTech.
Yeah, and just one thing to add to that, one thing that I really enjoy about working for this company too is there's a lot of care and a lot of passion, I think, that really excites me from this company, right? So it's not, just trying to get a sale or trying to push something out the door. It's a genuine, wanting to solve problems, caring about the customer, making sure they have the right solution to solve their problems and that they're going to be happy with at the end of the day. So let's see, solutions as a service. Riley, what does this mean?
All right, so I'm going to cover one of the solutions that we have. If you're aware of it, POTS lines, traditional phone lines, copper coming through the ground, going over the telephone poles. They're being moonlighted. It's an older technology. It's very costly to repair, and quite frankly, there's a better way to do that now. So we built a solution that includes all the hardware. It includes Cradlepoint technology for our connectivity. It includes the data. It includes some proprietary circuits that we've placed inside of it. It includes that site survey, and it includes the installation services. So everything is bundled into one package, one bill, one person to deal with. You're not, again, using multiple partners to create a solution. When you come to us, we'll partner with you. We'll work with you. We'll design that solution that's best for your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of hit all those on the right side there, but I just think it's so interesting, number of vendors needed, traditionally two or more, with us, one, because we kind of handle that whole, end-to-end ecosystem really from beginning all the way through deployment. The upfront payment required, obviously that's big for some people. And then the OpEx model, again, some of the answers in that poll, I'm okay with both. And then, just not even sure what CapEx and OpEx necessarily mean, but for some companies, that's huge. So just having that option, I think provides a lot of value. And that's, in addition to what you said, is kind of solutions as a service. So awesome. Okay, so how can this help you? We see bundled products, cost-effective pricing, simplified billing. How do you take this slide, Riley?
Again, we're a one-stop shop with an OpEx pricing model. It keeps the cost down since everything's bundled into that solution. There's going to be some other products we're talking about where, again, we're bundling. the product, the data, the service, to keep those costs down. And then we're providing support on top of that.
Hmm.
You do get that managed support with the products that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, cool. So let's see. We'll skip on here. Let's take a look at some use cases and success stories. So first one, use case. So in-vehicle connectivity, looking at a power authority, just kind of eyeballing the challenge here. So one power authority was tasked with powering a major metropolitan area to support their mission of providing electricity 24/7, 365 without outages. Field service staff and install technicians rely on a huge list of always-on applications and devices inside their company, or inside their company's trucks and vans. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, we do work with in-vehicle connectivity. What's that look like from an RTech perspective, Riley?
Well, again, we can, provide the solution
Hmm.
as we did with this power authority.
Yeah.
They came to us very unhappy that their current provider wasn't giving them that connectivity that they needed.
Hmm.
Based on where these vehicles are getting deployed, they may need, monitoring, remote troubleshooting. There might be areas they're going to where one data provider isn't providing the right coverage for them.
Right.
So we can provide, multiple carriers based on the need of the end users. Um, and as you'll see, we can dual SIM some of these things, so we can actually have multiple carriers on one product, which gives you a failover an option as well. So you're staying connected, up and running, getting the job done that you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking at that benefit list, there's things like turning vehicles into mobile offices, which is, more and more important. The type of work, like whether I'm trying to think of an example for this specifically, like let's say they're out on just out and about, and they need to log, some really sensitive information. Theoretically, yes, you could do that with hotspot, but depending on how sensitive that information is, hotspot really doesn't provide the security that you need. Not to mention, you don't have the control over that data as well. So whether, you could have someone in the passenger seat streaming movies or doing whatever, burning a whole bunch of data that you're paying for that you have no control over, right? You can't set any sort of permissions, anything like that. Just for that one benefit, that kind of popped into my mind there, right? So,
Hmm.
with our data specifically and looking at it through that lens of the in-vehicle connectivity, you have a lot more control and visibility as to what's going on with your fleet in general than you would otherwise.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's look at another one. CJ's Closet. This is a local retail business close to us. Let's see. The challenge, they sought to create a different experience. This popped up right where I was looking. Okay, I can close it there. Let's see. Create a different experience for shoppers. To accomplish this, the store chose to forego traditional cash registers and instead use an application-based POS system. Excellent. Yeah, this is a great one for fixed wireless and failover. So, it was they're in an older building for one. So I'm not sure what the telecom situation was in there. I know obviously if they wanted fiber or something like that, they wouldn't need to be in area for fiber. B, if they are in area and the building isn't already equipped, it's costly. It takes a lot of time, to get set up. Great thing about fixed wireless, you get the router, get a SIM card, you're running. And then with the POS system specifically that they mentioned, power goes out or you have an internet outage, even you can't do business, right? For small businesses like that, small little boutique, every sale counts. So staying online, is of paramount importance. I mean, how many sales could you lose? Even in like a 30 to an hour blackout, essentially. I think there's I can't remember what the Gartner quote for this is. Noah, if you want to drop that in the chat at some point, that would be awesome. I know the number for that was pulled in like 2013, so the number's got to be substantially higher by this point. But yeah, you want to go over some of the benefits, Riley? I'm starting to ramble, I think.
Yeah, no, increased coverage area. You can, that now the employees at CJ's Closet are able to move about the store, do business. They can perform that checkout anywhere. With the failover solution built into it as well, um, It's instantaneous, and unless you have a situation where you've got two carriers on a tower going out at the same time, which paying attention to the news, when one of the major carriers has an outage, you usually
Mhm.
hear about it.
Right.
If one of your local providers goes down, because it's more frequently, there's not really that much talk about it, but
Mhm.
this guarantees that uptime. And if you're thinking about a Friday night when it's busy and many transactions are being rung up, you really don't want your point of sale system failing. You want to keep that uptime going. So it's very cost effective and guarantees that you're not going to lose the receipts for that business.
Yeah, and Noah actually put it in the chat there. So it's about $5,600 are lost per minute of downtime. That's the quote that came out in 2013. So I'm sure some of you guys have noticed that we've had a bit of inflation since then. So who knows what that number actually is? But I mean, your customers are having that happen too. So things like that fixed wireless and failover especially are very important for businesses, really of all sizes.
Sure. So when you think about a modern day public transportation system, you think about the importance of connectivity, while transporting, clients around, those needing to take that public transportation.
Right.
So onboard connectivity is going to give you Wi-Fi on the go. Um, there's also applications where, for safety and security for the driver and others on board, they may have video monitoring where they want to keep an eye on what's going on inside that bus. Um,
Hmm.
there's internet IoT things for fare collection, as well as digital signage that they may want to have displaying within that in that transportation unit. So it really gives you good, fast 5G LTE connections on the go.
Yeah.
Um, another thing people may not think of with transportation like this is, let's take a school system and they might have a leased bus or something, or
Hmm.
their own buses where they need to move that bus around to provide mobile education opportunities for students in an area.
Yeah.
That's another thing that can. There's really a lot of applications. There's a lot this can do for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you're talking bundled services as well, especially looking at organizations and governments, things like that at the state level, you're really going to see a lot of benefits with that bundle, right? So you've got the technology. You kind of went over that a little bit with RTech data specifically. One account for all those SIM cards, whether or I guess regardless of the network that it's using, right? So let's say Verizon's strong on the eastern side of your state, whereas T-Mobile maybe is stronger on the western side of your state. You don't have to worry about multiple contracts. You don't have to worry about accidentally sending the wrong SIM to the wrong place. It's kind of one and done, and you're taken care of from that point of view.
Hmm.
Awesome. All right, 5G and LTE data. I might have gotten ahead of you there. Yeah. What are we looking at here, Riley?
Well, we've kind of been talking about this, throughout our presentation, with having the access to multiple carriers, the major carriers out there.
Hmm.
You can do things like failover. Again, if it's strong in one area and not strong in another, you have different options, which again can all be put on one bill. So
Yeah.
again, it's that ease of doing business and not
Hmm.
having multiple pieces of paper or invoices come in. There's more uptime. We, as a provider, in, provide support on the products we sell. And this is the way of the future. We're going towards a 5G LTE way of doing things because again of those copper lines, slowly fizzling
Totally.
out.
Hmm.
That you know, that's a great solution for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it is really interesting to kind of watch where the market's going with it. With 5G starting to become viable for a lot of businesses, and then seeing where it's gonna wind up. Right, like look at where LTE started when we had flip phones, and look at where it is now when you use your iPhone to call an Uber. Um, Interesting from some of the other communication points as well. You were talking about POTS lines, right? How everything's sort of coalescing around wireless data as a communication point. So it's really fascinating to see everything's really starting to move down this road really, and just seeing, it certainly looks like it's all coming to a junction point from a data point of view. But yeah, it's been fun to watch for sure. Let's see, the failover bundle, right? So we talked about this a bit with one of the use cases, but what do we have here?
Yeah, so the use case we talked about was fixed wireless access with failover.
Right.
Our failover bundle, if you think about, nine out of 10 businesses out there that have a hardwired internet connection or, coming into their building, this is what our failover, if that were to go down, switches instantly over and makes that wireless connection so the
Hmm.
business stays up and running. Another scenario that comes to mind that we service quite a bit is the restaurant business. Again, if you think of a Saturday afternoon and their point of sale system were to go down without failover, they would be kind of a fish out of water. With our solution, again, it's going to be an instant, in a blink connection, and you're staying running, so you're not losing that revenue on those busy times.
Yeah, honestly, talking about that 5,600 per minute is probably a lot more applicable here. Like you were saying before, it really is newsworthy whenever a cellular carrier goes down. I mean, that's how rare it is. And then I know at my house, I can kind of indicate it by like how hard's the wind blowing, whether or not a line's going down or something like that. So yeah, definitely super important technology, and it's kind of been the bread and butter of our business going back quite a while.
Yeah, I was gonna, something that we left off of here is portable solutions.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the school bus scenario. So, I kind of mentioned, what if it's a leased bus?
Hmm.
Then you can't really go in and attach solutions
Yeah.
to leased equipment. So I actually have right next to me in its ruggedized form, and I'll hold it up.
Hmm.
It's a ruggedized pop-up network kit,
Yeah.
and it's got a 14-hour battery backup in it. Again, it uses Cradlepoint, so it's letting people take their business out into the world in places where they may not be able to, set up that mobile office or set up that mobile school or that mobile bookstore.
Hmm.
So really, a lot of applications with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing, there's a couple similar products, I guess, on the market, and one of our biggest differentiators, we're a lot more affordable than some of the other ones are, right? And the main trade-off there is ours. I mean, you could probably drop it off of a three-story building, and it should be fine. Theirs, you can maybe drop out of a helicopter or drive a tank over. Um, Essentially, if you're uh, leasing a school bus, that's not going to be a primary concern for you, and nor would you need to make the larger investment. That's typically several times what we're selling at. Um, yeah, I just wanted to make that one point. It's a very cool product. Let's see, what did I have? Yeah, our data. So one question we get a lot is, does our data work with all carriers, right? So especially if you already have relationships with a carrier, or if you know that it's really strong on T-Mobile here or whatever. Yeah, we can definitely do that. We can split it up. All your data is pooled together. So regardless of whether you're utilizing Verizon's towers or T-Mobile's towers, you still have however many gigs or megabytes your purchase plan has, right? So it's all pulled together, and you've got that control to be able to say, I want X% or X amount of data coming from this area, and then the rest of it here, or prioritizing fast lanes. Really, so much control you can do with it. We may have to have another RTech data webinar. I think it's been a little bit since we've done one of those, but yeah. I mean, anything else on the data bit, or maybe some of the control you have with data, Riley, that I'm missing out on?
Yeah, I think he did a pretty good job covering it. But again, even if your business fails over to a wireless solution, you may
Hmm.
not want those, TV streaming in the background, or
Exactly.
somebody looking at YouTube on one of the computer systems. So you can really lock down what that failover is capable of doing. You really only want it for your business applications, your ordering. inventory management, and things like that. So a lot of capabilities.
Yeah, the critical needs for sure. Awesome. So I haven't seen any other chats come up, so I guess we'll go ahead and move on. Really appreciate everybody's time today. Riley, I appreciate you hopping on the call with us. It's been great having your insight for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything, any parting words you have for our audience?
No, I appreciate everybody that joined us today. Again, if you have any further questions, reach out to us and, sync up with me, and we'll get a conversation started about what solution we can provide best for you and the end users.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, again, thank you guys so much for your time, and we will see you on the next webinar.